All right, so in this video, we're looking at how to solve for the limits here, a and b, of this inequality statement. In order to do this, we need to analyze what's being done to x here in this piece, and then do the same things to the x over here, and that will help us construct the interval so that we can determine what a and b are. So let's think about what's being done to x here. So it looks like they've multiplied by -3 here, so we need to multiply by -3, and then it looks like they added a 1, right? Added 1. Now, it's important that we perform these operations on the x over here on the left in the proper order of operations. So in other words, we're going to multiply before adding. So that'll be -3 times the entire inequality, -2 less than -3 times x less than -3 times 2. But when we carry this out, we have to remember that we need to invert these inequality symbols because of the fact that we multiplied by a -3. Negative numbers cause the inequality signs to switch. So we're going to change that to +6 is greater than -3, x is greater than -6. Now from here, I'm just going to rewrite this in the proper format. So it'll be -6 is less than -3x is less than 6, right? We like to put the statement running from left to right in the proper order like it would on a number line. Now from here, I need to do the add 1 step. So I'm going to add 1 to every piece, right? So all sides of the inequality, I add 1. We'll get -5 is less than 1 minus 3x is less than 6 plus 1, or 7. And now we can see that our a term in this statement is equal to -5, and our b term in that statement is equal to 7. Okay, let's move on to example B. So in example B, what we want to do is to first analyze what's being done to x here. So we have to be careful here. The fraction is kind of, the denominator is almost like a parenthesis. So it's almost like we have to tackle that piece first. So we need to say, well, so what they've done here is they subtracted 8 from x. So subtract 8 from x. And then the next thing they did is they basically reciprocated the statement, right? So we can say they raised the x minus 8 to the -1 power. All right, so that's essentially what they did, so that they ended up having, x minus 8, and then they took that, raising it to the -1 power, which makes it end up becoming 1 over x minus 8. So let's try to do that over here to the left side. So we're going to subtract 8 from everything in the statement. So it'll be 2 minus 8 is less than x minus 8 is less than 4 minus 8. So we get -6 is less than x minus 8 is less than -4. All right, and from here we need to reciprocate everything, or raise everything to the -1 power. So we're going to do -1 power, -1 power, -1 power. But we have to point out something really quick. What if I had x is, say, less than 3, right? X is less than 3. So if 3 is bigger than x, then wouldn't it be true that 1/3 would have to be set up so that 1 over x is greater than 1/3? Because think about it, if we're saying that these fractions are basically the same in the numerator, but the denominators are different, then whichever one has the bigger denominator will end up being the smaller fraction. Well, here we said that 3 was bigger than x. So the bigger denominator must be 3 then, because this denominator is x, and we said x was smaller than 3. The bigger denominator makes the smallest fraction if they both have the same numerator. So the rule is essentially whenever you reciprocate something like this in an inequality, you have to switch the inequality symbol. So it's very much like multiplying by a negative. Reciprocating causes us to switch that sign. Okay, so that means we're going to say 1 over -6 is now greater than 1 over x minus 8 is greater than 1 over -4. And just rewriting this in the proper order, we'll put the 1/4 first, or the -1/4 first, make it less than 1 over x minus 8 is less than -1 over 6. So again, we can see that a here is the same as -1/4, and b is the same as -1/6. And those are our solutions.